Good afternoon and welcome to Why E-Blasting Sucks. You are destroying your relationships. My name is David Barnes, and before we get started, I just wanted to check with everybody that you can hear me loud and clear. If you can't, I'll unmute you all now and just speak up. But can everyone hear me? Yes? Great.
Yes.
Fantastic. Put you back on mute. Thanks, Shane. I'll try and keep this to half an hour, although it really is a 40-minute plus presentation, and I'll skip through some areas of the presentation that I think is quite simple, and I'll focus on some areas that I think are the important parts of the concepts that ensure that we can take our EDM to the next level. When we talk about destroying your relationships, I think the easiest and simplest way to look at how email marketing and SMS marketing and any electronic direct marketing in general can be viewed is putting yourself in the recipient's or the customer's viewpoint. If you subscribe to a newsletter or you subscribe to someone's marketing database and you're asked to give preferences, or you've been doing business with that company for some time and they start sending you e-newsletters or e-blasts or any electronic communication that really is not relevant to A, what your preferences were, or B, what they should know about you given the history of your relationship. And pretty quickly you'll see that your engagement will drop off right away. You'll just become less interested in the information being sent. You'll see it arrive in the inbox. Eventually you might unsubscribe, but more often than not, you might open one or two, depending on the subject line, moving forward. And that really is because the information being sent is not relevant. It's not delivering what you need in that relationship. And you have so much email coming into your inbox that people are becoming extremely picky and choosy as to what they're going to read and the time they're going to spend. So sending linear e-blasts to an entire list every month or every 2 weeks or every day or whatever it is just destroys that relationship and destroys that trust that the customer has with you over electronic communication. So today we're just going to go through the concepts. I'm going to give you some examples. Nothing's ever really free, so we have to chuck in a pitch. If anybody would like to take up our services to help get their campaigning to the right level, we've got a half price setup offer today. Learning outcomes, obviously why e-blasting is detrimental to your marketing strategy, what is the right amount of campaigns and why consistency is so important. Segmentation and targeted campaigns will always yield better results, and I'll show you a couple of examples, and our top 10 tips for campaigning. EDM for us is not just second fiddle to a marketing campaign. It's a core component of the communication strategy, and it itself has a series of disciplines from strategy through implementation, execution and analysis, and you've got to keep that circle going, especially when it comes to looking at the results at the end of the campaign, understanding where you've done well, where you haven't done well, has it resulted in sales, has it resulted in people subscribing or downloading a white paper or whatever the objectives were. You've got to continually look at those numbers. And we've found marketers tend to not like looking at those numbers these days because it's getting more and more difficult to get better engagement rates and get cut through it. What's an e-blast? Well, I think those two examples on your screen are pretty good examples of what not to do. The email on the left was an EDM that went out for Christmas, wishing people Merry Christmas. It wasn't personalized, it was just simply an image. The template didn't meet best practice. You couldn't click on the links below to go to Facebook, LinkedIn and so forth. It was just simply an email that went out that had not a lot of care to it, had no personalization, and it really made it difficult for the user to actually interact if they wanted to interact with that at all. You couldn't RSVP in there. It was just horrendous. The one on the right You'll see quite a lot of these emails these days, especially coming from Indian and Filipino firms soliciting. This particular email is drafted to look like a letter. It's boring. It doesn't have any brand integrity, and to be honest, the engagement rates and the open rates of the emails on the right were around the 5 to 6 to 7%, which is pretty tragic. Blasting indiscriminately really is just thinking about sending an email at the end of the month or whenever it is, when you think you've got a good idea and you decide to just send out a comms to your entire database or a particular list.